Hey everyone, I'm just going to do a new video update. It's easier for me to put all this information in the video. And in keeping with the format of the last one, I'll just start with some music and then get into the information. This is it's from the old Willy Wonka film, Pure Imagination, that I've done my own instrumental version of. So, Megan and I went down to Nesfield Hospital today, had a meeting with Mohammed, who's going to be my main doctor following me on the radiology and the chemo. Went through a bunch of question and answer sessions and looking at the different options. Over the next 6 weeks, so the first day was talking with him, going through everything, looking at all the options, which I'll get to, and then they had to make a kind of a space mask for me. Well, I'll send a picture, but it's to keep me aligned perfectly when I have to go through all the radiology. That was kind of funny. The day started really nice. We had beautiful weather here. Sun was out. I kind of laughed and sang in the car on the way down there, which was a nice start to the day. So yeah, it's going to be a 6-week period. It's a little bit delayed because I'm having my tooth pulled tomorrow. Originally, it looked like it was going to be delayed about 10 days. That might not be the case. It looks like it'll be a little bit less than that. However, there's two options. One is continuing treatment down at Nesfield. It's about a 40-minute drive from here. At the hospital there, and doing regular, known radiology and chemo. I'll be doing 5 days a week with radiology. One of the days I'll have 2 radiology treatments, and on another of the 5 days I'll be having radiology and chemo. So one-time chemo each week. They'll be doing blood tests the day before I'm to receive chemo, and if there's any indications that my blood count levels are too low, then that would be postponed, which could potentially make the period that I'm going into a little bit longer. But he said the chances are low of that. The other option is looking at doing proton therapy, which is another form of radiation, a newer form, and that would be over on the mainland, close to Aarhus. That you have to be selected in order to be, to have it approved. I'm sure it's a much more expensive version, so they don't just put anybody through it. So, and it's a different form of radiation. It's much more localized. I mean, the radiation I'll be going through is localized as well, but it will be affecting surrounding areas outside of the area of cancer somewhat, even though it's concentrated. Whereas the proton therapy, almost none of the surrounding tissues would be touched. There's some side effects with both of them that I can have some third-grade burns and all that stuff, but I'll be treated and that'll be fine. There might be some some remaining tissue changes, but that's fine. So the question was whether or not I would look at that as an option, and Meg and I talked about it all. If we're to go over there, housing and funding would be covered under the health system. And I asked about Rege, and she would also be covered not with food, but she would be covered with lodgings with me, and the option would be either looking at staying at a hotel or one of the apartments they have for the entire 6 weeks period, which is doable. We have friends that can help out with the horses, so that would be fine. At any rate, I told them, sure, let's look at that as an option. So that will be considered this week, early next week. Later in the week, even though I'm not starting the actual radiology treatments, I will be doing the upstart of other things, which include another PET/CT scan, which is a little bit more targeted, I gather. They'll be doing some 3D modeling of things, and it sounds kind of interesting. And with the results of that, then Mohammed and his group will be taking it up to a board, basically, to look at my particular condition, my particular form of cancer, and then they'll evaluate whether or not they feel that I'm eligible for the treatment in Aarhus. And yeah, basically it's kind of, he said, it's a little bit of a lottery system, but he said in my case it's probably chances are like 2 to 3 that I would get it. So we're looking at that. He also said that the board may feel that despite the fact that they approved me for the proton therapy, that they still feel that the therapy here, close to where we live, would be the better option given my form of cancer. Anyway, I'm leaving that up to them, so it's either here or it's there. If it's over in Aarhus, I'd have to wait a little bit more, but it's only a matter of a few days, I expect. Yeah, so he just went through all of the different side effects that there will be. The chemo, he said, is going to be intense because of the intensity of the cancer. So I'm to expect to be fairly sick with that. That's fine. Yeah, and the other thing is that if I do get approved, and if they choose to opt for the proton therapy, the long-term effects will also be better for me. And if following this 6-week period they find that there's still some cancer, he said it's more than likely going to be on this side here where the lymph nodes are affected. And if there is some left there but not behind my throat, then those would be removed So that would also be surgery, but that's kind of easy surgery because they can just get at it by cutting in from the side. And then they would just remove all of the lymph nodes, possibly on this side as well, that have had any form of infection. If on the off chance there's still some cancer left behind my throat, then the only other option is doing the full surgery that I explained in the last video. Mohammed feels that there's a very low chance that that will happen. So the video cut off, so just needed to round this up here. So yeah, I think the options looking good. Aya feels much better. Has a better understanding. She was able to ask questions and get answers. I had hoped to potentially be able to do a little bit of work in this next 6-week period. That's looking very unlikely, even if I am in this area. If I go to Aarhus, obviously not at all a possibility, but if I do stay here, I don't think I'll be able to fit that in, which is a bit of a bummer because it gives me, good positive energy. But anyway, that's what it is. Yeah, so I'm feeling a bit more optimistic today. Definitely feel that I'm in very good hands, and I'll just keep you guys updated when there's a decision on that, which would be, I guess, later this week, potentially beginning of next week. There's not a lot of extra news to share this week because it's just removing my tooth tomorrow, going through tests, doing more blood tests and scans and all that sort of stuff. So nothing that intense yet. That'll start either next week or the week after. Whether it's here or there, we'll find out. So, love from here, and I'll do another video at another point.